Hello, and welcome to my first video of Lone Wolf Ministry. I want to wish a happy Memorial Day and blessings to the fallen on this Memorial Day. And in this first video, I think the purpose, of course, is to be an introduction, to give you an idea of who I am, why I'm doing this, and what the pillars are of this ministry, and a little bit of what the vision is. Of course, that's going to take time to develop, and will hopefully do so with some of your help and input. But I hope that this first video can give you at least a rough idea of what I'm doing. So to give you some background on who I am, I'm coming here on the heels of some extremely painful and difficult personal experiences in my, specifically my working life, but also my career and my life in general has been fraught with quite a bit of pain and frustration, particularly recently. So I'll admit that part of my purpose for this video is that it is an outlet for myself. But through my struggles and through hearing the struggles of other people, I realize I'm not alone. That stories like mine, especially in the work world and our industries, every company, they're becoming alarmingly common. And I've long felt called to ministry of some kind as a vocation or a calling, if you will. So that could be a good place to start, is to get an idea of what's my personal definition of ministry. It has a very religious connotation. It can. And so I want to clarify how I define ministry. Ministry to me is an umbrella definition of addressing and supporting human needs. Very broad, very basic, and it can look many different ways. I consider coaches, teachers, what have you, can be ministers. And this particular ministry is very much non-religious and aiming to be non-political. Of course, we'll touch on religious subjects and political subjects, but I really feel personally, and we'll get into this in other videos, that a lot of time religion and politics can often block us from reaching a more holistic and wholesome view of life, and from relating to each other. And so that is one pillar of my ministry, is that in order to address and support real human needs, it would be helpful to avoid getting overly religious and overly political. I've called this Lone Wolf Ministries for a few reasons. And so, to give you an idea of why this ministry is called Lone Wolf Ministries, is the easiest way is to give you an idea of, first, what true lone wolves are in wolf habitats. actual wolf society, and then to relate that to humans and how that is translated into human societies, human communities, and uh, one, because lone wolf is a term we use and that can kind of be universally understood, but it also is a very powerful metaphor for me personally, and hopefully for you and for those that might find any value to this ministry. The truth about lone wolves and wolf culture in their actual habitats, as people have studied them and scientists study wolves and their lives and have made note of lone wolves in wolf culture, the first thing they notice is that lone wolves are very rare. It's very uncommon because, number two, wolves inherently crave and need community and the hierarchy and the social structure is very important to wolves. And wolves always crave that community. That even includes lone wolves, which may be surprising, was surprising to me when I first learned it, may also be surprising to you. Third, what a lone wolf then really is a wolf who struggles to fit in and can't seem to find a sense of belonging in the pack that they find themselves, maybe the one they were born into. So what they do is they set out on a journey, still the focus being to eventually find another pack or mate or community where they do fit in, where they do find their sense of belonging, or where they can create their own pack and community, and one that is more conducive to whatever it was that made them feel like they just didn't fit in their other pack. And they'll travel hundreds of miles, and it's quite the journey. But that is always their vision and their goal. And four, and this is important, lone wolves are critical to the health of the species, to the health of all the wolf population. Specifically, the reason they are healthy is because lone wolves increase genetic diversity. So by being the rare ones who are willing to go on that journey and strike out on their own and do that, they keep each wolf pack from the problems that come from inbreeding, and they promote genetic diversity as well as spread the learning of their own pack to other packs. All of that is critical to keeping the wolf population strong and versatile and resilient. So I want to use those four perspectives on actual lone wolves and apply them to how they relate to me, this lone wolf, and to humans in general, and those of us who relate to the lone wolf metaphor. Is in the same way we lone wolves are, human lone wolves are very rare. It's not many of us. Kind of wondering if I'm going to find any of them here sometimes. But two, we do still crave community, and we need it in order to be healthy. Even I, a dyed-in-the-wool, stubbornly independent loner, I have to admit that there is still something in me that can only be healthy in the context of a community. And strangely enough, I wonder if that could be a byproduct of this, that we could potentially down the road become our own community of people that have had similar experiences, but just not quite fitting in. And so we've wandered around and struck out on our own, been beaten up maybe quite a bit, but could have that in common. And ironically, become our own community of lone wolves, which can happen in wolf culture as well. And 3, we've just found, for whatever reason, my personality, be it, I don't know, my looks or my background or whatever, we've struggled to fit in. I've struggled really to find a sense of belonging almost everywhere that I've looked. And it's kept me looking. And left to wander as pioneers, really, to struggle and find it elsewhere. And maybe we even feel called to do so. And so that leads us to number 4. In the same way that actual lone wolves are critical to the health of the wolf population, I feel very strongly, and have felt for a long time, lone wolves like me, perhaps like you, are critical to the health of the human population. You know, genetic diversity aside, for humans and our culture and our society, lone wolves have always pushed us forward. Most of the time going totally unnoticed and unrecognized in what they do, but we lone wolves are critical to the health of our communities. We stir the melting pot of our nation and our world and our culture to keep our society from becoming stagnant and stuck in our ways, to buck the system, to pioneer humanity to new heights, to expand the horizons of our race, of our human race, to keep humanity strong, versatile, and resilient. All of those things are why lone wolves are critical to the health of our society and of humanity. I feel very strongly about that. Of course, that will very likely be the topic of multiple videos. And another pillar of why I've chosen to use wolf analogies and the wolf image comes from a proverb, attributed to the Cherokee Native Americans. So a Cherokee proverb, a relatively well-known one, so you may know it, called Good Wolf versus Bad Wolf. And it's a proverb that has become a pillar for me as I grow in my life. It becomes more important to me in helping me understand life and navigate life. And so the proverb is this, that an old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. And I'm going to read it directly because it helps to break it down later. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the grandson. It is a terrible fight, and it is between 2 wolves. One is evil. He has anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The grandfather continued, the other wolf is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about what his grandfather said for a minute and then asked him, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. I'm going to expand on this proverb later and invite you to reflect on it for yourselves and what does it mean for you, and maybe comment on that below. But it is one that has become very important to me in understanding and navigating life, and I hope it can be for you as well. And of course plays well into the wolf metaphor that I use for this video, for this channel, for my ministry starting out. Another pillar is anonymity. I will remain anonymous for a number of reasons, the biggest of which, and we'll of course unpack this later in other videos if y'all want to, assuming I make it this far, assuming there's anyone out there hearing this. But the biggest reason that I choose to make an anonymity such a pillar of this ministry is that as we look back on the good wolf, bad wolf metaphor, there's a lot of powerful people with immense resources in the bad wolf camp who just seem hell-bent against anything good or meaningful or nourishing or life-giving or encouraging or holy, good, anything good and holy about life. They just seem to want to throw everything they have at it and have quite a bit to throw at it. And this actually includes the people who control which videos get posted and which videos do or don't get viewed, which videos get promoted or not. They control our attention, but that's a topic for yet another video. We've got a lot building up already, as you can see. But that's the first reason. I've just learned there's a lot of powerful people in the bad wolf camp, and I hope that we can find a way to make that not be true, but it's the world we're in, and I imagine some of you can think of your own examples of that. I don't even really need to name names here. I don't hope. My second reason is to protect myself, my audience, you all, and those around me that I care about. Anonymity can be a very helpful tool to protect ourselves from just the junk that's out there and the people that would unnecessarily attack us and those that we care about. Third, along the topic of anonymity, if you're someone that I know or you happen to recognize me, I just request that you please respect my anonymity and that of this group and my people. And so please also understand that I'll not be addressing anyone or anything who claims to know me as anything but Lone Wolf. It's not personal. I do love you all, but for the purpose of this video and this ministry, anonymity is, until further notice, very important. There's also going to be those who claim falsely to know me, which frankly just makes it more important to make anonymity a pillar. And it's a good use of this tool of being anonymous and giving out as little information about myself as possible, while hopefully still being able to reach to people, is that it gives me the ability to be more neutral and accessible to more people who might not feel like they could relate to me otherwise if they knew some things about my, jobs or my past or things I do and don't like, or, where I'm from even. Right away, we're just, as humans, hardwired to let our judgment cloud our ability to think neutrally and clearly. And hopefully, anonymity will give me leverage to reach more people in more ways. And so, with that said, welcome again. And on that note, with everything I've said, your response is important to me. That's another pillar of this. Is I value your feedback, and I prepared myself for how people are, how people can be, and how brave and brutal we humans get behind a keyboard and a computer screen. I'm ready for that. Nevertheless, I won't demand you to be civil. I don't expect to be immune to the social toxicity and the social ugliness. No one is immune to that. That goes on in social media and platforms like YouTube. So I won't demand that because I have no control over it and I can take it and I'll learn either way. Nevertheless, I just request civility so that it's been said we can hold ourselves to a higher standard. And if we can, we must. But again, a topic for another video down the road. So this is the beginning. And this ministry will start as a YouTube video, a YouTube channel. Because, let's be honest, YouTube is a prominent platform in our culture and our era. Perhaps arguably the most prominent. And so it seemed like a logical place to start, even if it might be biting off more than I can chew for this lone wolf. But I do think we can be onto something here that is very special. This has been special to me to be able to take all of these experiences that I might have used to feed my bad wolf and turn it into something that I can use to feed my good wolf instead. And take all of these painful bad experiences and maybe, just maybe, create something very cool and good. And yes, it's starting as a YouTube channel, but I do intend for this to build and expand into producing actionable, measurable, meaningful results. And how that's going to look will certainly evolve over time, and you will be part of that evolution. And so I hope you can see this as I do, as being part of something new here with Lone Wolf Ministries and with me, and I with you. Because I do also intend to write a book down the road on life, assuming I can figure out a way to get it put together, and maybe we can learn that together as well. I think there's a lot of lone wolves out there that we can all learn and grow from each other and create something perhaps new. And again, be that this generation's shining light, shining a new frontier that'll give us opportunities and possibilities that we've never had before. And I will eventually be receiving donations, and a pillar that I feel about donating, which will again be a topic for another video, is to give only if this is meaningful enough to you to feel like you want to give, and if you're able to give. If you're like me, then you're in a financial position where giving is going to be tight, if giving at all. And I insist, and I will again talk about this later, that you give only what you can, if you can, to causes that are meaningful to you. And if mine is, I would humbly receive it and graciously receive that. And thank you in advance. And on this Memorial Day, I feel this is a really perfect way to consider our place as we think of our fallen heroes, those that have gone before us. And I think of particularly my friends and brothers in Ukraine, and that they have a saying that heroes never die. And as I launched this today, it wasn't entirely intentional, but I wanted to reflect and honor the fallen, because this can be my way and hopefully our way together as a community of honoring the golden road of freedom paved by those who have fought, died, and otherwise gone before us, who continue to do so, in the name of protecting those values for which we should leave a place at the top of that good wolf list, including life, liberty, and truth. Thank you.